In the hospitality world, there are few skills as absolutely crucial as mastering food and beverage cost control. It's this fascinating place where spreadsheets meet the sizzle of the kitchen, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in the hospitality industry. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we'll talk about why this is so incredibly important for profitability. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of sourcing and inventory. From there, we're heading straight into the kitchen to talk about execution and waste. And finally, we'll bring it all home by looking at how teamwork is the secret ingredient to success. All right, let's kick things off with a big picture, the profitability imperative. See, this isn't just about pinching pennies. It's really about getting to grips with the core financial challenge that sits right at the heart of every single food and beverage operation. I mean, just think about it for a second. What makes F&Bs so different from other hotel departments? You've got this perfect storm, really. You're dealing with inventory that spoils, customer demand that can swing wildly from one day to the next, and these super complex service processes. Trying to juggle all three? Well, that's the name of the game. So when we talk about cost control, what do we actually mean? Because let me tell you, it's so much more than just slashing budgets. It's a systematic process of managing everything, the food, the drinks, the labor, to find that sweet spot between boosting profits and maintaining the incredible quality that your guests expect. And this really gets to the heart of it. It's like you have to be two people at once. On one hand, you're the numbers person, comfortable with spreadsheets and reports. But on the other hand, you've got to be the operator, with your finger on the pulse of everything happening in the kitchen and on the floor. You know, that operational discipline we just talked about? It actually kicks in long before a single ingredient even makes it through the kitchen door. And that brings us right to our next section, sourcing and inventory. Think of this as the foundation of your entire cost management strategy. So, your first line of defense? It's all about strategic purchasing. This means you're not just buying stuff, you're building solid relationships with suppliers you can count on. You're negotiating for competitive prices, you're standardizing everything so every tomato is the right tomato. And hey, while buying in bulk might sound like a great way to save money, you've got to be really careful. A storeroom packed with stuff that's just sitting there, that's a total cash flow killer. And this leads perfectly into what I like to call the inventory balancing act. Seriously, picture a set of scales. On one side, you've got all the stock you need to operate. On the other, you have what your guests actually want to order. Your job is to keep those scales perfectly, and I mean perfectly balanced. It's a constant, dynamic challenge. Why is that so important? Well, because if those scales tip too far in either direction, you're in trouble, and fast. Too much inventory, you're looking at increased spoilage, waste, and capital just tied up doing nothing. Not enough inventory, now you've got service disruptions, unhappy guests, and straight-up lost revenue. Yeah, neither of those is a good look. Okay, so we've got our purchasing strategy down. Our inventory is looking good. Now let's go where the action is. We're pushing through those swinging doors and heading right into the kitchen. This is where execution is everything. Look, if you want predictable costs, you need a predictable kitchen. And the bedrock of that predictability? It all comes down to standardized recipes and portion sizes. Every dish made the exact same way with the exact same amount of ingredients every single time. That is the secret sauce. It gives your guests consistency, and it gives you the cost predictability you absolutely need. Now let's talk about waste, because honestly, reducing waste is one of the biggest opportunities you have. But this isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a four-step process, a continuous loop. You start with those recipes and portions. Then you put on your detective hat. You monitor plate waste, what's coming back, and then you dig deep to find the root causes. It's this powerful cycle of continuous improvement. Okay, but here's the real secret. You can have the most perfectly crafted recipes, the most amazing inventory system, but if your team isn't on board, it's all for nothing. And that leads us to our final section, which is arguably the most important one, the collaborative advantage. This is not a solo sport. Not at all. Real, effective cost control only happens when you break down the silos between your teams. Your finance folks need to be talking to your culinary team, and the culinary team needs to be in sync with the front of house operations team. It has to be this essential, constant collaboration. What you're really aiming for here is a culture of shared accountability.
It's about getting to a place where everyone, from the chef to the F&B manager to the finance team, feels a sense of ownership over the results. When that happens, that's when you see the whole operation just level up. It's how you go from being good to being truly great. All right, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. We've covered everything from strategic sourcing to portion control to teamwork. So as you look ahead to your future career, which of these strategies do you think holds the biggest opportunity for the operation you'll be in? Really think about it. Find that opportunity, and you'll be making a huge impact. Thank you so much for joining me today.